Today, I want to share *7 powerful lessons that will completely change the way you look at suffering, kindness, and life's greatest challenges. *1. Good hearts feel more because they care more too. Stop expecting everyone to value your kindness. 3. Pain often becomes your greatest teacher. 4. Kindness does not mean accepting mistreatment. 5. Trust God's timing even when life feels unfair. 6. Never let pain turn your heart bitter. 7. Your character is worth more than temporary success. My dear friends, always remember this. The world may reward cleverness quickly, but life always rewards character eventually. Do not become cruel because someone was cruel to you. Do not stop loving because someone broke your heart. Do not stop helping because someone was ungrateful. And do not stop believing in goodness simply because the world sometimes feels unfair. Because every act of kindness shapes your character, every difficult season strengthens your soul. Every painful experience carries a lesson that comfort could never teach. The people who inspire the world are rarely those who lived without pain. They are the people who refuse to let pain destroy their goodness. So if you are suffering today, do not lose hope. Do not lose faith. And most importantly, do not lose your kind heart. Because the world has enough successful people, it desperately needs more good people. Stay kind, stay strong, stay patient. Your story is not over yet. Thank you. One of the deepest reasons good people often suffer more is because they feel more. They care more deeply, love more sincerely, forgive more willingly, and carry the emotions of others as if those emotions were their own. Their hearts are naturally compassionate, and while this compassion is one of their greatest strengths, it can also become the source of their greatest pain when it is not balanced with wisdom. Think about the people who are always there for others. They are the first to listen when someone is struggling. They are the first to offer help without expecting anything in return. They notice when someone is sad, even if no one else does. They remember birthdays, encourage friends, comfort family members, and quietly support people during difficult times. These individuals rarely make life about themselves. Instead, they constantly think about how they can make someone else's life a little easier. This beautiful quality makes them deeply loved by many people. But it also makes them emotionally vulnerable. Because when you care deeply, you also feel deeply. A careless word hurts more. A broken promise stays longer. A betrayal cuts deeper. Disappointment becomes heavier. The same heart that experiences love so beautifully also experiences pain more intensely. That is why many kind-hearted people silently carry emotional burdens that others never notice. They smile while hiding their struggles. They comfort others while needing comfort themselves. They encourage everyone around them while quietly fighting battles inside their own hearts. The world often sees their strength, but rarely notices their pain. Another reason good people suffer more is because they naturally empathize with others. Empathy is the ability to feel another person's emotions as if they were your own. It is a beautiful gift because it allows people to connect deeply with others. However, Empathy also has a cost. When someone you love is hurting, you hurt too. When your family struggles, you feel their stress. When a friend is crying, your own heart becomes heavy. You do not simply observe pain, you absorb part of it. Over time, constantly carrying other people's emotional burdens can become exhausting. Many kind people become emotionally tired, not because of their own problems, but because they have been carrying everyone else's. Sometimes they forget that they also need rest. They also need healing. They also deserve kindness. Yet, because they are so focused on helping others, they neglect their own emotional well-being. Good-hearted people also tend to believe the best in others. They trust easily because they themselves are honest. They assume others have good intentions because they approach life with sincerity. Unfortunately, not everyone shares the same values. Some people take advantage of kindness. Some mistake compassion for weakness. Some use generous people for personal benefit. When this happens, kind-hearted individuals often experience deep disappointment, not because they expected perfection from others, but because they never imagined someone would intentionally hurt them. This disappointment can be incredibly painful. Still, it is important to remember that their kindness was never the mistake. The mistake belonged to the person who misused it. Another reason caring people suffer deeply is because they often carry guilt over things that are beyond their control. They blame themselves when relationships fail. They wonder if they could have done more. They replay conversations in their minds. They search for mistakes they may have made, even when circumstances were not their fault. They continue questioning themselves. This tendency comes from their caring nature. They genuinely want to make things better. But sometimes, life presents situations that no amount of kindness can completely fix. Learning this truth is an important part of emotional healing. Kindness does not give you control over every outcome. It simply reflects the beauty of your character. One of the most inspiring qualities of good people is that despite experiencing pain, many continue choosing kindness. They refuse to let suffering change who they are. They continue helping. They continue encouraging. They continue loving. This is not because they never get hurt. It is because they refuse to let pain define their values. That kind of strength is rare. It requires tremendous courage to remain compassionate after experiencing disappointment. It requires great wisdom to continue believing in goodness after being hurt. But this is exactly what makes truly kind people extraordinary. Their goodness is not based on how others treat them. It is based on who they choose to become. At the same time, caring deeply should never mean carrying every burden alone. Even the strongest hearts need rest. Even the kindest people need support. Even those who spend their lives helping others deserve someone who listens to them. Healing begins when compassionate people realize that caring for themselves is not selfish. It is necessary. A healthy heart is able to continue loving without becoming overwhelmed. A peaceful mind is able to continue serving without becoming emotionally exhausted. At the end of the day, good hearts often feel more because they care more. They celebrate more sincerely. They grieve more deeply. They love more completely. They forgive more generously. Their capacity to experience pain is closely connected to their capacity to experience love. And while that sensitivity may sometimes bring tears, it is also what allows them to bring hope, comfort, and light into the lives of countless others. Never see your caring heart as a weakness. It is one of your greatest strengths. Yes, it may cause you to suffer more at times, but it also gives you the extraordinary ability to make the world a kinder, warmer, and more compassionate place. And in the end, that is a strength far greater than anything the world can measure. One of the hardest lessons that kind-hearted people must learn is to stop expecting everyone to value their kindness. Many people believe that if they treat others with honesty, respect, love, and generosity, they will always receive the same treatment in return. It is a beautiful hope, but unfortunately, life does not always work that way. Every person has a different mindset, different values, different experiences, and different priorities. Not everyone recognizes kindness, and not everyone knows how to appreciate it. This realization can be painful, especially for people who naturally give without expecting much. They help because they care. They support because they love. They forgive because they believe in people. They sacrifice because they want others to be happy. But sometimes, instead of receiving gratitude, they receive indifference. Instead of receiving respect, they receive disrespect. Instead of receiving loyalty, they experience betrayal. When this happens repeatedly, they begin asking themselves painful questions. Why do people take me for granted? Why do I always give more than I receive? Why does my kindness seem invisible? These questions are understandable, but they also reveal an expectation that every act of kindness will be recognized and appreciated. The truth is, some people will value your goodness, some people will never notice it, and some people will benefit from it without ever saying thank you. This does not reduce the value of your kindness. It simply reveals the character of the other person. Imagine planting seeds in different types of soil. Some seeds grow into beautiful trees. Some struggle because the soil is poor. Some never grow at all. The quality of the soil determines what happens to the seed. In the same way, kindness produces different results depending on the heart that receives it. A grateful person appreciates it. A humble person treasures it. A selfish person may ignore it. An unkind person may even take advantage of it. The seed was never the problem. The condition of the soil was. Many good people become discouraged because they measure the value of their kindness by other people's reactions as if someone appreciates them, they feel encouraged. If someone ignores them, they feel hurt. If someone betrays them, they begin questioning whether kindness is worth it at all. But kindness should never depend entirely on someone else's response. If your goodness exists only because others reward it, then it is controlled by circumstances. True kindness comes from character. It reflects who you are, not how others behave. This does not mean allowing people to misuse your generosity. It simply means refusing to let someone else's lack of appreciation change your own values. Another reason expectations create suffering is because people often assume others think the way they do. A kind person believes others will naturally be honest because they themselves are honest. A loyal person expects loyalty because they themselves are loyal. A respectful person expects respect because they themselves value respect. When reality turns out differently, disappointment can be overwhelming, not because they expected perfection, but because they expected people to share the same principles. Life teaches us that this is not always the case. People give according to their own character. Some give love. Some give criticisms. Some give encouragement. Some give pain. Their actions reveal who they are, not who you are. This understanding brings emotional freedom. It helps you stop taking every disappointment personally. Another important lesson is that appreciation cannot be forced. You cannot make someone value your sacrifices. You cannot force gratitude. You cannot convince someone to recognize your worth if they are unwilling to see it. Trying to earn appreciation from people who refuse to value you often leads to emotional exhaustion. The healthier choice is to continue living according to your values without making your peace dependent on someone else's recognition. There is also great wisdom in understanding that the right people will appreciate genuine kindness. You may not receive recognition from everyone, but those with grateful hearts will notice. Those with strong character will value your sincerity. Those who truly care about you will not take your love for granted. Instead of chasing approval from those who overlook your goodness, invest your time and energy in relationships where kindness is respected, appreciated, and returned. This creates healthier, more meaningful connections. One of the greatest signs of emotional maturity is continuing to be a kind person without becoming bitter because of past disappointments. Pain has the ability to change people. Some become cold. Some become suspicious. Some stop trusting completely. Some stop helping others because they were once hurt. But true strength is refusing to let negative experiences destroy the goodness within you. You become wiser. You become more discerning, but you do not stop being kind. Because kindness is not something you perform for applause. It is something you choose because it reflects your deepest values. At the end of the day, your kindness is one of the most beautiful parts of who you are. Do not measure its value by the number of people who appreciate it. Do not allow ungrateful people to convince you that goodness has no meaning. Continue being compassionate. Continue being honest. Continue treating people with respect. Not because everyone deserves it, but because your character deserves it. When you stop expecting everyone to value your kindness, you free yourself from constant disappointment. You give without becoming emotionally dependent on recognition. You love without keeping score. You help because it is the right thing to do. And in doing so, you discover a peace that no amount of praise or appreciation could ever replace. Because the greatest reward for living with kindness is not always found in how others treat you. It is found in knowing that no matter how the world behaved, you never allowed it to take away the goodness that lives within your heart. One of the greatest truths about suffering is that pain often becomes your greatest teacher. No one chooses pain. No one wakes up in the morning hoping for disappointment, failure, heartbreak, or loss. We naturally seek comfort, happiness, and security. Yet, if we honestly look back at our lives, we often discover that our greatest lessons did not come from our easiest days. They came from the moments that challenged us the most. Think about it. When everything is going well, people rarely stop to reflect. They become comfortable. They continue with their routines. They assume life will always remain the same. But when pain enters life, something changes. Pain forces us to pause. It makes us ask deeper questions. It encourages us to examine our choices, our priorities, and our purpose. It invites us to grow in ways that comfort never could. Imagine a piece of iron. Before it becomes a strong and useful sword, it must pass through intense heat. It is placed into fire, struck repeatedly, and shaped with great pressure. If the iron could speak, it might believe it was being destroyed. But in reality, it is being transformed. Life often works in the same way. The difficult seasons are not always meant to break you. Sometimes they are shaping you into someone wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. Many of the people who inspire the world today carry stories filled with hardship. They experienced rejection before acceptance, failure before success, loss before wisdom, pain before purpose. Their suffering did not automatically make them stronger. What made them stronger was what they chose to learn from that suffering. This is an important distinction. Pain is unavoidable. Growth is a choice. Two people can experience the same difficulty. One becomes bitter. The other becomes better. One loses hope. The other discovers inner strength. The difference is not always the situation. The difference is the response. Pain has a unique way of revealing truths that comfort often hides. It shows you who truly stands beside you. It teaches you which relationships are genuine. It reminds you what truly matters in life. Many people spend years chasing things they later realize were never important. A painful experience can suddenly change their perspective. They begin valuing time over possessions, peace over popularity, love over status, character over appearance. Suffering often rearranges our priorities in powerful ways. Another beautiful lesson pain teaches is humility. Success can sometimes make people believe they are completely in control. Pain reminds us that life is life's fragile. It reminds us that every person is fighting battles we may never fully understand. This awareness often makes people kinder, more patient, more compassionate. When you have experienced deep pain yourself, you become less likely to judge someone else's struggles. You understand that behind every smile may be a hidden battle. You begin treating people with greater gentleness because you know how much invisible pain a person can carry. Pain also teaches resilience. Before facing challenges, many people underestimate their own strength. They assume they could never survive certain experiences. But then life presents them with situations they never expected. And Somehow, they continue one day at a time, one step at a time. Eventually, they look back and realize they were stronger than they ever imagined. That strength was not created overnight. It was discovered through difficulty. This is one of the hidden gifts of suffering. It reveals abilities you never knew you possessed. It shows you courage you never realized was inside you. It reminds you that you are capable of rising again after falling. Good people often ask, "Why is this happening to me?" It is a natural question. But sometimes a more helpful question is, what can this experience teach me? That simple shift changes everything. Instead of seeing pain only as punishment, you begin seeing it as preparation. Instead of seeing difficulty only as loss, you begin seeing it as an opportunity for growth. You stop asking only why life is challenging you. You begin asking how life is shaping you. This mindset does not remove the pain, but it gives the pain meaning. And when suffering has meaning, it becomes easier to endure. Another important truth is that pain often develops qualities that comfort cannot. Patience grows during waiting. Courage grows during fear. Faith grows during uncertainty. Compassion grows after experiencing suffering. Wisdom grows after making mistakes. These qualities become part of your character. And character is one of the few treasures that no circumstance can take away. At the end of the day, none of us would choose painful experiences, but many of the most meaningful transformations in life begin there. Pain has the ability to awaken us, to humble us, to strengthen us, to deepen our understanding of ourselves and others. It reminds us that life is not only about avoiding hardship, it is also about discovering who we become because of it. So if you are walking through a difficult season today, remember this: your pain is real, your tears are real, your struggles matter. But this chapter is not the end of your story. There may be lessons growing beneath the surface that you cannot yet see. There may be strength developing that you have not yet recognized. There may be wisdom forming that will one day help someone else heal. Pause, because sometimes the greatest teacher does not arrive in moments of comfort. Sometimes it arrives wearing the difficult disguise of pain. And if you allow it to teach you instead of defeat you, it can become one of the greatest sources of growth, purpose, and inner strength you will ever experience. One of the most important lessons every kind-hearted person must learn is that kindness does not mean accepting mistreatment. Many people confuse kindness with weakness. They believe that being a good person means saying yes to everything, tolerating every form of disrespect, forgiving endlessly without wisdom, and sacrificing their own well-being for the comfort of others. But true kindness is very different. Real kindness is rooted in love, respect, and compassion. Yet it also includes wisdom, self-respect, and healthy boundaries. Many good people suffer not because they are kind, but because they allow others to misuse their kindness. They become so afraid of disappointing people that they constantly ignore their own needs. They say yes when their heart is exhausted. They remain silent when they should speak. They continue giving even when they have nothing left to give. Slowly, they become emotionally drained. At first, They believe they are doing the right thing. They think enduring every insult makes them patient. They think accepting every unfair treatment makes them loving. They think sacrificing themselves completely proves they are good people. But over time, they begin feeling hurt, exhausted, and unappreciated. The problem is not kindness itself. The problem is forgetting that kindness should include yourself as well. Imagine a beautiful garden. You water every flower. You remove every weed. You protect every plant. But you completely ignore the soil. Eventually, the flowers begin to fade because the foundation has been neglected. In the same way, when you spend all your energy taking care of everyone else, while ignoring your own emotional health, you eventually become too exhausted to continue giving from a joyful heart. A healthy heart must also receive care. Kindness should never require you to abandon your self-respect. One of the reasons good people struggle with boundaries is because they worry that saying no will make them appear selfish. They fear being misunderstood. They fear hurting someone's feelings. So instead of being honest, they continue agreeing to things that leave them overwhelmed. But saying no to something unhealthy is often saying yes to your peace. Protecting your emotional well-being is not selfish. It is responsible. When you establish healthy boundaries, you are not rejecting people. You are simply teaching others how you deserve to be treated. People often learn how to treat us by observing what we continue to tolerate. If disrespect is repeatedly accepted, some people begin believing it is acceptable. If manipulation is never challenged, it often continues. Healthy boundaries communicate a simple message. I respect you, but I also respect myself. That balance is essential for healthy relationships. Another important truth is that love without wisdom can become unhealthy. Caring deeply for someone does not mean allowing them to repeatedly hurt you. Forgiveness is beautiful, but forgiveness does not eliminate the need for discernment. You can forgive someone while still recognizing patterns that are harmful. You can remain compassionate without becoming vulnerable to repeated mistreatment. You can care about someone while choosing not to participate in unhealthy behavior. These decisions are not acts of anger. They are acts of wisdom. Many people believe strength means enduring everything silently. But sometimes true strength means speaking honestly with kindness. It means expressing how you feel respectfully. It means protecting your peace without becoming bitter. It means walking away from situations that continually damage your emotional well-being. This requires courage, especially for people who naturally put others before themselves. Kind-hearted people often believe everyone deserves another chance. Sometimes they give second chances, third chances, fourth chances. Eventually, they realize that while everyone deserves compassion, not everyone deserves unlimited access to their life. Trust must be supported by consistent actions. Respect must be mutual. Healthy relationships require effort from both sides. Kindness cannot survive where respect is completely absent. Another beautiful lesson is that boundaries actually strengthen genuine relationships. People who truly care about you will respect your honesty. They may not always agree with every decision you make, but they will understand that your well-being matters too. Relationships built on guilt, fear, or constant self-sacrifice rarely remain healthy for long. Relationships built on mutual respect become stronger over time. At the end of the day, your kindness is one of your greatest strengths. Never allow the actions of unkind people to convince you otherwise. Continue being compassionate. Continue helping others. Continue loving sincerely. But remember that your kindness should never come at the cost of your dignity, your peace, or your emotional health. Being a good person does not require becoming a doormat. It does not require accepting disrespect. It does not require carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. True kindness includes courage. It includes wisdom. It includes self-respect. Because when you protect your heart with healthy boundaries, you are not becoming less kind. You are becoming a wiser version of the kind person you have always been. And that wisdom allows your kindness to remain genuine, sustainable, and strong for the rest of your life.